Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's VinPF and welcome to this penultimate episode of my Whiskey Advent Calendar adventure. Now, as I've said on all of the previous ones, if you want to go and check out that playlist as well, you can do. There's a playlist that's in order of all of these, right from the intro all the way through till the final video, which we'll get through to in a second. This is the Explorer's Advent Calendar, and as we've discovered over the last few episodes, it's kind of not necessarily for beginners, but really for people that are open to trying a kind of breadth of things from across the world. They also do kind of bourbon ones and Scotch ones, and you don't just have to go to kind of Master Malt as well. They're doing advent calendars all over the place. Besides the point, knocking that, brings me on to another good point. To be fair, these videos here have been about kind of minimal editing, more like a live streamy thing, but really just recorded when I've got the time to do so. So I'm going to leave stuff like that in. Why not? These videos are going to be long form, probably about 20 or so minutes. I think the smallest one has been 15 and the longest has been something like 26. But anyway, in any case, this is the second to last video. We're going to be doing day 17 and the next 4 drams after. And what we'll do is we'll try each of them in turn from left to right. There's no order to these things, just the number order. And at the end of it, I'm going to throw the samples, what's left of the samples, into this infinity bottle. The idea of this to be trying this after I have finished all of the drams in here. The intention is to release a video soon after the last one, but we'll see how we get on with that. Also, I'm expecting it to be a bit rough because I'm just chucking stuff in there, to be honest. There's a lot of peat in here, there's some sherry in here, there's stuff from all over the world. So we'll see how that actually gets on at the end. But for now, let's get into this one here and see what we've actually got in the box. Chuck them into the glasses and then we'll go through each one in turn. So, number 17 then. We'll see as we're getting on with this now. Maybe they'll be easier to open, but bloody hell. Okay. I think I've said that every single episode now and I've had a different struggle for each of them. Alright, what have we got then? Cardhu, 15 years. I'm going to persist with holding them up to the camera. I used to turn the autofocus on, but what happened with that is that the camera constantly pulled in and out of focus as I gesticulate, which I do a lot. So I turned that off because people didn't like it. So there. So yeah, that's that first one. Cardhu. So that was 17, so now we need 18. I'm going to move this slightly out of the way. Hang on. The old tongue coming out to visit. Let's see what we got. Obviously, I haven't covered that first one, so maybe we'll get something that I've covered. And as he says it, there we go. Teeling, single grain. Now, I covered that, I want to say earlier this year, but it might have been 2019. I'm not sure. But I remember not being too keen on it, actually. Which we will see. It's got a... Just trying to remember now. I think it's got a funny finish to it. Like a wine cask finish or something like that. Not sure. Okay, let's find 19. I swear I'm doing this wrong, to be fair. Let's try putting this tab out first. That seemed a bit easier. Should have figured that out a few videos ago. Oh, okay. Mortlak, 16 years old. I've mentioned this a couple of times. I've never covered a Mortlak on this channel before because I sometimes don't like them. But we'll see. That's interesting though. Okay. 17, 18, 19, 20. That's right. Oh, do you know what? That was so easy to do. My God, I was doing it wrong this whole time. What you meant to do is push the corner in. Oh. There's probably going to be a lot of people groaning at that, so I'm sorry about it. Okay, Darkness, 8-year-old. Don't know much about that. All I know is that it's an Atom Brands brand. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting because I've only covered one of these so far. And I actually don't think I've ever tried a Cardhu 15. I think I've tried the 12. Never covered one on the channel. And I've tried the Game of Thrones one, but I again didn't do that on the channel. I do 1 or 2 videos a week, so that's anywhere between sort of 50 and 100 whiskies a year if I keep up a full pace. But that's not actually that many, depending on how many have been released and things like that. So let's have a sip of water. And let's get into the first one, which, for memory, was the Cardi 15 at 40%. And see what we've got. Now, okay. I don't know much about Cardhu and their practices, so I don't know about colour. 15 years seems like a good way to get some colour, but it's Diageo in it, so it probably has some colour in it. Don't know. I shouldn't really get into that. Speyside. But I have to say, it's not the typical Speyside nose of kind of apples and pears and things like that I get. That's a typical Speyside anyway. Try on the palate. Okay. I have to say, when I was sort of chewing that to start with, I thought, this is pretty light, pretty boring, but a kind of waft of nuttiness and toffees came over the back end there. Let's have another little sip. Yeah, not too bad. It's a bit light going for 40%. I don't mind that at all. I don't know how much it is. It's a 15-year-old, so it's probably going to be fairly expensive. But it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't light my world on fire for sure. Definitely could do with more ABV, but I guess they release it for a reason like that. So it is what it is. Not very complex, but maybe it doesn't need to be. Just one of those things. Just one of those things. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. This is the only one of this batch that I have covered, and this was the Teeling single grain, 46%. They've got like I think I said this on the previous one of these videos where we got some Teeling. I can't remember the name of the core range now, but it's kind of like I want to say something like unconventional or something like that. It's because they're doing things a little bit differently to what you typically expect from Irish distilleries. But this is the single grain, which is again not too typical for Irish whiskies, and I have been a big advocate of grain whiskey in the past. Don't know the age in this. Teeling are a fan of chucking all sorts of ages into their small batches, because this is what they are, the small batches. What I'm trying in my glass might not be exactly the same as what you're trying. But, I can tell this is a grain on the nose, but it seems a bit... I remember saying that it was a bit hot and fiery on my video, but this is what I'm getting from this. It seems a bit in your face for the kind of... I like the well-aged grain where it becomes kind of, dare I say, smooth and buttery and generally quite, like flavoursome, whereas this is... I'd be fooled into thinking this was youthful. Anyway, let's try a sip on the palate. Yeah, it's big grain. It's very lots of vanillas and wood influence going on there. But for me, it's a little. It's almost like a little rye-like. Very hot, very spicy, very fiery. Yeah, it's a challenging whiskey. Definitely a challenging whiskey. Not an easy sipper. I remember not liking this so much, and I don't like it now that much. It's okay. It's okay. That's the thing. I mean, it's definitely drinkable. And I would enjoy this in a kind of a lineup like this or whatever, or a tasting with friends or something. I don't think I would buy a bottle of it. It's a bit too rough around the edges for my liking. For a grain anyway. I mean, if I was going in for something that I expected to be that, like if I was buying a rye whiskey, a good example, I'm not a huge fan of rye whiskies, but I do find some of them drinkable. But I know when I'm going into that bottle that it's fiery and challenging. But when I see a single grain whiskey, I'm expecting a little bit more. And I have to say, I don't typically go for age statements as a thing. You know, I don't want to use age statements as an excuse, but when I'm talking about grain whiskey, I do like to see an age statement on that label, just so that I know how long it's been in the cask and I can make an informed decision before I try it. There you go. Yeah, I don't like being overly negative on the videos. You know that about me, but it is what it is. Not my favourite Teeling by a long shot. Okay, so next is the Mortlak 16-year-olds. And I know Mortlak is highly regarded. I haven't tried many. Typically in the past, especially some of the older ones, they've been a bit much for me, a bit sulphured. I don't smell any sulphur in the nose on this, I have to say. Interesting. Lots of sherry influence goes through Mortlak, and it's one of those ones I bet sells well at this time of year. They also did one for the Game of Thrones series, which I have tried, and it was okay, but it wasn't worth the premium they were charging for it above all of the others, at least. Let's try on the palate. Okay. Well, I mean, this proves that I definitely haven't tried this one before, because the last time I tried a Mortlak of anything, I can't even remember which one it was, unfortunately, but I did not like it. This, I like. Let's go back to the nose and we'll start there, because I feel like this is one of the ones you want to delve into. What's the ABV on this? 43.4. I would not have called that. It automatically feels like it's a bit higher, maybe 48 or something like that. So the nose doesn't really give much away. It's got a kind of whoa, what is that? There's some sherry notes in there, some dried fruits. These are things I like to talk about a lot. You know, raisins, sultanas, blah blah blah. Obvious ones. Lots of vanillas, wood influence. It's been in wood for a long time. But there's almost like a hedgerowy fruits vibe to it, which is something I don't get very often. I got it on a recent review, and I really can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But it's almost like a blackberry kind of thing. Not like a juiced, but like off the bush. Yeah. If you ever go picking blackberries, you might know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. Maybe I'm talking rubbish. Who knows? Let's go back to the palate. Now, oh yeah, this is nice. So it's got lots of oak influence to it, more than I would expect actually. I know it's had 16 years, but I've tried whiskies around that era for a long time, and you get different results. This is the kind of oak influence I'd expect for a few more years. They must have used good barrels for this. And it's interesting, I'm not getting overly sherried notes from this. Certainly no sulphur. It's quite sour on the back end. Enjoying that. That's by far the best one of this little lineup so far. Like that. Okay. Let's move on to the last one, which was the Darkness 8-year-old, 47.8%. Probably done this in a good order today, actually, which is good for these videos, rare. Don't know much about this. All I know is that it's a Atom brands. There's a lot of brands knocking around these days around the same vein, but like Master of Malt, Atom brands, Maverick Drinks are all kind of the same umbrella. It's a single malt whiskey, but I don't know where it's from. Not even a little bit. I'm just trying to drag out some information. I think it's, if I remember, it's like sherry cask finished. Don't quote me on that. You might have to do some research on it to find out what it is. But if I know Atom brands well, and I know them fairly well at the moment, it's probably reasonably priced. Well, it smells nice. So Darkness is a bit of a weird name. I don't know why it's called that. It reminds me of the Bamor, I want to say 15 Darkest, which was a really hilarious name. They've actually removed that from the label now because it was so much added colour to that whiskey. It's unreal. So to call it Darkest and then add colour to it was a bit of a, not fraudulent, but like a bit of a misnomer. And they've removed it now because I guess they had some complaints. But I don't know why this is called Darkness. I don't know even if it's a range. Darkness 8-year-old, maybe, whatever. But it smells nice. Let's try on the palate first. Okay. Oh, that's making the ABV known. That's weird. That changes a lot all the way through it. So on the nose, I'm not getting too much out of the ordinary, I have to say. Probably, again with these things, quick fire, probably could do with sitting out on the side a little bit more, but I kind of felt like I had to unbox this while on camera and do minimal editing, because what I didn't want you guys to think is that I had somehow managed to research these things ahead of time, because literally I'm just opening this and seeing what I get, and if I don't know anything about them, I don't know anything about them. It's just one of those things. So yeah, it's given the amount of time it's been in the glass, I'm not getting a hell of a lot off this. It's quite woody, quite oaky, lots of vanillas, but not much else. Kind of honeys. You know, it's a very typical Scotchy nose. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but on the palate, it did bring out some weird stuff that changed throughout the drink. Definitely getting some more of those sherry notes that I talked about on the Mortlak. Probably in the same kind of levels, to be fair. Again, not overly sherried, very sour on the back end, lots of wood influence. Not quite as much as the 16, obviously, but I imagine, again, I don't know about added colour or whatnot, but I imagine good casks were used for this rather than kind of, you know, second, third fills. That's tasty. I like that a lot, actually. It's the extra ABV is really doing it for me there. It's kind of what I hoped this would be, I guess, which is a bit of a weird thing to say. Not sure, again, not sure what distillery it is, not sure. But yeah, an interesting one today, because we've had only one that I've covered before and didn't like that much, and 3 that I haven't tried, one that I didn't think I would like. I mean, the Teeling one is a clear loser for me, but very, very closely followed probably the Cardhu 15. It really does need more ABV, guys. I don't think when you're charging, I mean, I'm making a rash assumption here that a Diageo single malt at 15 years is probably fairly expensive. Probably not too much for a 15-year-old, but I can't imagine that being less than 50 quid. But you know, just make it 43. Make it 43 or 46. That's my bit. Just like these ones are here, you know, this one's 43. That doesn't need to be any more. It's far too hot as it is. And then it goes up in order here. So second place for me is the Mortlach. A good ABV. I'm not sure what the 0.4 is going on there, but I'll take it. And then right up to the 47.8. I think that one's the best one here on the table. These two are pretty interchangeable, though, I have to say. First and second, very close. Depending on my mood on the day, depending on which one I reached for. Which is surprising, really, because they're both sherried whiskies. Again, I'm pretty sure this is a finished one. I'm not sure about this. I don't know how they've made this, to be honest. Which is a shame, because I would like to give that information to you. Maybe if I ever do a review of any of these, I'll bring a bit more to the table. But that's my order today. You should let me know what you think about that, because I know a lot of these whiskies are well known, and I don't want to slam people's kind of favourite whiskies and whatnot, but they're my thoughts. Especially this Darkness. Let me know if you've tried this, because I don't know much about that and I would like to learn a little bit more. So if you know some more information, drop it in the comments. Of course, we can all Google, but we do like to read the comments. But there you go, that's the penultimate episode. I'm going to chuck these into the infinity bottle. I'm not really keen about throwing the grain in there, but I did promise I'd do it, and then we'll see what it's like at the end of this thing. I'll catch you again on another video soon. Thanks for watching today's video. It was made possible by the contributions from these top tier supporters coming up the screen right now. If you'd like to support the channel, please do go check out Patreon. Thank you very much.